What is up, guys? This is Caleb Williamson and Tim Clunt.
How's it going?
This is the Sideboard podcast checking in. What's going on, Tim?
Not too much. Just a nice, kind of relaxing weekend. Recording for this week. Pretty excited.
Yeah, it wasn't very relaxing because the weather was like triple digits the whole time.
Aside from us living in Mordor, it was a pretty cool weekend.
Yeah, downside of Fresno.
Just hanging out, playing Fall Guys all weekend.
Nice. I've been playing Risk of Rain too. Have you ever heard of that one?
Not too much other than, from our chat, what you were saying last night about it, but it sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Anyways, let's get into some discussion today. We are talking about our impressions of the Anniversary Box 2020. How many did you get, Tim?
Sweet. I personally bought 2, just to make sure that I had a non-foil playset of all of the new cards.
Nice. I got 2 as well. I think that's the right number.
Yeah, definitely. Unless you're like
trying to ball out on reprints.
Yeah, trying to ball out and then maximize on like reselling singles.
Right, which they're pretty good for.
Yeah. But even like just a day or two now after that releasing, a lot of the prices have tanked.
Yeah, it could be too, the market's flooded with demand, but
yeah,
we'll see in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, definitely.
So what were your first thoughts on the draft, not the draft box? What am I talking about? The Anniversary Box. Sorry.
So at face value, first thing you see is the different box arts. I was like definitely all in. One of them I was getting was the Agents one. And then the other one I didn't really care. And I just picked the one that had Goku Black. But then earlier today I realized it actually had all of the unisons from the Set 10 product on it.
That seems to be like a recurring theme, especially with me and like the box arts is I always pick based on what's on top, but then I open it and find out like, oh, this box is actually cooler than I thought.
Other things, yeah.
Right. They sneak stuff on there.
One thing I did not like was actually getting to the box. The plastic wrapping around it was god awful. It was like trying to peel a soaked, like extra small Under Armour off of an extra large dude.
That's hilarious, dude.
It was not enjoyable. I don't think it was that bad last year with them. It seemed, from what I remember, a lot easier to open.
Yeah, these ones were a little bit difficult. I just had my box cutters on me, so I just used that. But if you didn't have any sort of like key or anything, it might have been a little difficult.
Yeah, it was not good.
Nice.
Not pretty.
Nice. So I'm guessing your favorite box art was the AOD one.
Oh,
with
absolutely.
All the agents. Yeah, nice. I picked up there was one with Goku on it, and then
had like a bunch of Saiyans.
Yeah, a bunch of Saiyans. That was my favorite. I think it just looked pretty clean. And then I also picked up the Agents one because it's got a bunch of agents in it.
Because it looked the best.
Sure, we'll go with that.
I don't even remember what the other one was.
There was a Goku Black one, the Agent one, the Goku one, and then there's a SS4 one.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I feel like it was a homage to like the Set 11 because it's like got SS4 all over it.
That could be.
It looks. I literally thought it was like, corresponding with that.
Yeah, maybe. Those few Set 11 previews we got the other night were pretty cool. I thought.
Bruh. I'm excited. I'm
pretty hyped for, me personally, from just what we saw, the Gogeta stuff and the Babidi and Majin Vegeta.
Yeah, yeah.
But even the Green Gotenks looked pretty good too.
Yeah, and he got some new support in the Anniversary Box.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like he might be pretty decent. So what do you think of the Anniversary Box? Like just overall with like the packaging and stuff? Most of the time people don't talk about this, but I think it's a good thing to talk about because, we're paying these companies money
$65+ depending on how early you pre-order or don't pre-order.
Right, exactly. We should be getting pretty quality products, which I was pretty impressed with this set.
Yeah, I was impressed with it. I do think, there could be less like waste with it. That giant piece of cardboard in it. I don't think you need that. Really.
Right. It's like a space gap filler.
Yeah. I really wasn't impressed with the sleeves. I think last year's were infinitely better.
As far as the art or like the quality?
Maybe both.
Yeah, I never used those sleeves because I'm more of like a Dragon Shield guy, and I'm actually trying out the new Dex sleeves, but for the most part, I don't do art sleeves because they're usually trash.
Yeah, I still have a super old Chile deck in art sleeves from last year's anniversary box, but they have the like outer sleeves around them also, so that the really bad quality art sleeves don't get destroyed from one shuffle.
Right, that seems like about the only way you can do it.
Yeah, that, and then I re-sleeved AOD into the old AOD sleeves.
Oh, I got you. Yeah,
we're totally on theme now.
Just make sure you're not, accidentally triple sleeving something.
Or a few things.
Oof. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, the sleeves were cool. I was a little disappointed with the artwork, like especially the maiden ones. Like, were there even any maidens in the set?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So like,
it was kind of random.
Why are there maiden sleeves?
Yeah.
Also, like landscape art.
So here's my thing with doing landscape or portrait. If you're gonna do landscape art on sleeves, make sure that the image is facing the player,
right,
instead of the opponent.
Right. So
I've seen a lot of sleeves lately that are landscape arts, and the art is facing the opponent, and it's just weird.
So the bottom edge of the art needs to be on the left side of the back of the sleeve. If the open part
so
is facing the opponent,
it's facing yourself.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that'd be cool because then you get to appreciate your own sleeves.
Yeah.
Kind of the whole point, right?
They're not there for my opponent, they're there for me.
Except your Trogdor mat.
Oh yes. The what is that? I can't think of the name of it's an Adult Swim show.
That mat is
remember the name
very
of it.
cringeworthy.
It's supposed to be like some sort of like spoof on D&D.
Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious.
But I can't remember. The main character looks like Lord Farquaad from Shrek.
Jeez.
It's super cringy to look at. So whenever I bust that playmat out, my opponent looks at it for the entire match.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's just don't ever play Tim when he has that mat. It's not a pleasant.
It's fun for everyone, man.
No, it's not. Anyways, moving forward. So, how about the card quality? What did you think of that? I mean, there seemed to be a pretty high contrast. I mean, they tried like a new art style in these cards.
Yeah, so the reprints had a few different art styles, and then I think the only new foil cards that had their own like unique art style was the Agents of Destruction archetype. Everything else just kind of had, generic Dragon Ball style of art, where like there's a person and some sort of like key blast sort of thing.
Yeah. The pastel thing, like how did you feel about that? Like the whole pastel color scheme?
I am not a fan of that art style they chose. I really don't like it. Even having them in front of me and even the foil versions of it, it just seems like it's all like deafened and blended together. And maybe it's just me. I don't really like it though. But there were like 2, maybe 3 specific cards that I actually kind of liked that art style on.
Yeah.
Actually holding in my hand the Helly's super combo actually looked really good.
Yeah, that was one of the reprints I only got one of, but I wish I kind of got more because it looked really nice.
I was looking more at some of them last night with my product. I actually don't hate the King Vegeta and Vegeta Arrival card. I don't hate the art on that one too much.
That one's pretty cool. I do like that they reprinted all of those Arrival cards from Draft Box 4.
They hit all of them, right?
Yeah, they hit all 4.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those were...
The Hercule Boo, I really did not like that art style on that one. I wish they would have gone with a different style for it.
I'm kind of partial towards it. Like, the pastels are cool. They're different. They're kind of a nice, like, flat tone, like you were saying.
But with that, it's kind of hard to, like, accentuate anything on the art at all.
Right. It all kind of like blends together.
Deaf.
Right. You know, the thing I didn't like was with the AOD card specifically, the foiling was such a big part of the card that on the non-foils, it's like all this black lightning type stuff.
Yeah.
And it just like is a huge difference between the two cards.
Yeah, it feels like there's a lot more going on in the non-foils than the foils for sure.
Right. But the foils look way better.
Oh, yeah.
I wish maybe like they, instead of putting all that black like lightning, they just removed it. And so it was just like just straight art on those ones.
Yeah, or even if like instead of it being black lightning, they did the red lightning from the original agent cards.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
That would have given it a little more contrast also.
Right. Yeah, they look kind of funny. But, I mean, overall, they're pretty good. At least their effects are really good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That deck's definitely going to be tier 1.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that, 2 episodes ago?
2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to that, go check it out, guys.
Yeah, we went pretty in-depth on that, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, like a whole hour.
But yeah, I think the... as far as reprints, I think the best foil, hands down, was Preemptive Strike.
I have to agree with you on that.
Like, the card's not that great, but the art choice on it, the art style, and then the foiling that they did specifically on that one was they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because it's like probably the worst card or one of the worst cards in the reprints. But like the art is just very nice.
It's so good.
Very nice.
I was actually kind of disappointed with the Familial Bonds once I had it in my hands.
Really? Did you pull
Even
a foil
the
one?
foil, yeah.
Huh.
I thought it would pop a lot more than it did.
I only pulled one non-foil, but I thought it was pretty good. It's one of those cards where it's like I already had 1,000 commons of it, so it's like whatever. But yeah, it did look pretty cool on paper, or on the website, I should say. But in real life, some of the reprints looked a little
disappointing,
right?
Or a little lacking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it comes from like the high contrast between foil and non-foil.
Yeah, the UI actually looked phenomenal. The UI Goku from Draft Box 4, both the foil and non-foil looked absolutely incredible. I was really impressed with those.
Yeah, I was excited because I didn't have any. Now I have like 3, I think.
Yeah, mine are mismatching now, which is kind of bugs me a little, but
wait, see, when they mismatch, you just get one of each art.
Yeah, it's the old Pokemon strategy.
Yep, you just get one of each if you don't have all the same, and then that way it's actually kind of funny because it's harder for your opponent to keep track of them. Then
yeah, I used to do that when I played Legacy and Magic, even though for specifically Legacy, you want all 4 copies to be the same because of like Brainstorm and stuff like that, and getting thought seized all the time. But like if there were 4 different like promo arts or anything like that, I 100% went for that.
Jeez, that's so cringy.
It's the fun factor, man. They're all promos. That's what matters.
Right. Sure.
How
do you feel about the reprints as far as value goes, like the cards that they chose?
I think for the most part they were good choices, but there were definitely some really questionable choices.
Right. Yeah.
I feel Vegeta exploiting definitely should have been in the red slot also.
Mm-hmm. Instead of Bonds.
Yeah. Blue, I don't think Pan should have been in there.
Or Comrades Combined.
Yeah, or that.
I think they should have.
Granted, Comrades Combined was like a really old expansion thing that's hard to get.
I think it's still less than $1 though.
Yeah. Or if they were going to do that, maybe do some other sort of product with both the Goku and Vegeta.
Right. Yeah, because now you have like half of it. I mean, he can play any Vegeta. I think it's like 20k or less
maybe
or something.
Like redo those original expansions with new arts.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because those aren't super playable cards, but some of them are still really cool.
Right.
Yellow was Raiders Warcry and Planet Vegeta.
And Mutaido.
Those
are all good.
Yeah. I mean, Planet would have been the weakest out of the 3, but it's still cool to get a new art of it.
Yeah, and it's like I would say it's almost like an eternal card because like
Yeah.
they just brought apes back,
Mm-hmm.
so
So it
people are
kind of
gonna
fits in with that too.
exactly. So people are gonna want to play those.
And then green, we got preemptive,
Trash,
oob,
trash.
and what was the third one?
I can't remember. No, it was Hellies.
Hellies, that's right. Hellies was a good choice. It's
Yeah.
not very valuable, but it was only out of the ultimate box, which is also kind of hard to get your
I
hands
think
on.
foil ones were a few bucks each.
Yeah, the foil one started to spike when set 8
Beerus.
came out because of Beerus.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That does have one of the best reprint arts, I think. Also, the Hellies, they did really good with that, even though it was the pastel.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
The Oob is kind of good as a reprint because it's a power booster, and there was a lot of Chile support in the product also.
Yeah, I can understand that. It's just kind of weird because like the card wasn't really that valuable, but I can see
Yeah.
because of it was kind of exclusive, because it's power booster.
That, and it synergizes with the product itself because of that Chile support also.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was a great choice value wise, but it makes sense.
Yeah, I think they could have done a little bit better by reprinting like the draft box for Zamasu. That's like $100.
Yeah, or even Piccolo. But
Piccolo.
Piccolo's getting a judge print, I think.
Yeah, he already has it. It's already out, I think.
Okay, so then Zamasu would have definitely been the best choice.
Or I would have settled honestly for the Goku Blacks, the 3-drop ones that go into the Zamasu 7-drop,
Oh yeah, that'd have been good too.
because those are still like $15 each.
Didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that card's definitely still playable. Just I don't think the right home for the current format has been found yet.
Exactly. But you never know. I mean, this game metas transition and warp like extremely
Every week
quick.
it seems like.
Oh yeah.
And then the multicolors, we had the
All the arrival
DB4
cards.
Those were all pretty good. I really didn't like the Goku Gohan art that much.
Yeah, when
It
I
was
pulled
just kind
it,
of weird.
it looked a little lame. But those cards are all kind of like staples for their respective color combinations.
Yeah.
So
The Krillin 18 I thought was really nice. It felt like really simple. The characters stood out enough on them.
mhm,
I did kind of like that one too.
right. Yeah.
I really did not like the time regulator.
Really?
Yeah, even in my hands, even in foil, it just felt like it all blended together too much.
I kind of liked it. Just because like I don't know, it's just a little bit different than the typical black card like MO of, dark, super dark characters and stuff.
Yeah.
It was a little lighter, like a dark or like a light brown almost.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of liked it because it contrasts a bit.
The mirror I thought was just great art on that one.
Yeah.
The creator absorbed. Even the non-foil looked great. The foil looks phenomenal. The foiling seemed really simplistic on it. It highlighted the character in the forefront of the image. It just that one I really liked.
Yeah. I think overall the box was really nice. I liked all of it. I would say they could do like a smaller box to fit all that stuff in it.
Yeah.
But having the big one's nice for people that don't have as much storage stuff,
Or even like raise the price point and just put all of the contents you would get into 2 boxes into one. And then they would save money on, product packaging and all that stuff too.
Right.
Because you could easily fit double the product into one of these boxes and charge almost the price of 2 of them.
Yeah, so what would you say is a fair price? Like $120?
I like pre-order prices, yeah, because I think when I pre-ordered it was at like $65 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
It's like $120 to $130 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then Bandai would be saving money on all of their packaging also.
Yeah. So then you could...
I think they'd have a better profit margin at that point, honestly,
I think so, maybe.
because you'd still be paying about the same price and they'd be saving probably quite a bit of money on packaging material.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thought. I would like that, though. It'd make it easier for me.
It'd also be nice for the players storage-wise.
Yeah.
because these kind of like anniversary and draft boxes, the boxes themselves, they start to take up a lot of space.
Yeah, they do. I actually threw away like 4 draft boxes the other day, just the leftover box, because I have 5 row 5,000 count boxes, and I'm like, I don't need these random 700 card boxes lying around.
Yeah, I was actually just going through some stuff from moving, because I'd moved a couple weeks ago.
Right.
I threw away like 12 to 15 of those.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then probably like 10 to 15 like regular set boxes.
Dang.
That I just hadn't put into like a BCW box or anything. So I bought a couple of those, and it takes up a lot less space now.
Yeah, it's definitely more organized.
Yeah, I think that'd be nice for both Bandai's end and players' end to kind of just put it all into one box.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I think profit margins doing that would be higher for them
For shipping and stuff.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see if they consider that in the future. I always like the concept of like, I know Pokemon and like Yu-Gi-Oh do this, but the tins.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But maybe doing like just like alternate art prints of things.
As the promo on it.
Yeah.
But be a guaranteed card.
Mm-hmm.
That would be interesting. I mean, it was an issue in those other games that I mentioned, being like so they do normally like a set of them. So like it'd be like 5 tins is the set. And at like Walmart and Target and stuff, the best one would always get bought out.
Yeah, but it would also like drive the secondary market price down on the most playable card out of them quite a bit.
That's actually a good point. I kind of fear for Walmarts and Targets if they ever made like a Saiyan Instincts on one of those.
Oh, those would be sold out nationwide in like 5 minutes.
Right. It's interesting, like that card just changes a lot of like market and economic rules, because
it kind of feels like it's been like the linchpin of the game since its printing.
Right. And it's like, it's almost like it's a
like a gatekeeper.
Or even the concept of like a utility in a house, right? Like if the prices go up or the prices go down, it doesn't matter. Everybody needs it.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be hard to get.
Like, it's interesting because they've tried to print like similar effects that are not specifically the ape. And I think the closest they've gotten is the Majin Buu from set 10. And even that, it does not even feel half as good as just aping.
Mm-hmm. It's like the ultra budget version. I mean, it is good.
It's like it's a delayed ape, which for a lot of decks isn't good because you want the cards right then.
Uh-huh.
And then you also have to discard a card on top of that, so you're not even just really plus 2ing, you're only plussing 1.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, it's like the same rate as the backside of not even a scratch.
Exactly. Yeah, that's interesting. The problems of Saiyan Instincts.
Which I do think that people should make sure that they have at least 2 copies of Not Even a Scratch going forward.
Yeah, it's a good card.
Just, even for the back end of it being just a pay one, draw one, I think that alone is just worth having at least 2 copies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Alrighty. Well, anyways, moving forward, let's... we had an event announced recently, the Mack TOP number 2.
Yes, we did. That was an interesting post that night.
Yeah, it was kind of cool, I thought.
Yeah, definitely was cool. There was certainly a lot of talk about it.
Very controversial
after that.
On the list of the top 68 players, I think it was.
I think it was supposed to be 64, and then he gave a couple of flex slots.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's hard to fit out of, I think our Dragon Ball page has like 10,000 or 15,000 members. So to pick the top 64 out of that many, that's a pretty steep task.
Definitely. I think for the most part, it was all pretty solid, pretty good, accurate choices.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, me personally, there's a few people whose names I didn't know, but that also could just be because I didn't come into the game until, set 5-ish.
Yeah. There's I mean, I know a good amount of people in the community, and there's some names that I don't know either, but it's kind of like the situation you're in where like you're pretty good at the game, I'd say, and not a lot of people know who you are.
Yeah.
Just because you don't go to that many events.
Players who just can't travel around the country for events.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
So they're only, really known in their state, or, in our case, because we're in one of the largest states in the country, just, in our part of the state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, here's a hot take. If you had to rate what's more important, deck building or piloting, what would be the most important, assuming you could be taught the other one?
Deck building.
Deck building. You think so?
If you can understand deck building at a higher level than the average person, you're going to understand intricacies, and you're going to see lines of play and interactions and things like that other people just won't see. So then, say you get help piloting a deck by someone who's really good at playing, you're going to be able to see things that, even they don't see.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if I agree or disagree. I think they're almost, if not within a few percentage of each other on importance. But like a perfect example is one of our teammates, Mally Mal. Mm-hmm. He doesn't build decks too often, but you can hand him a deck, tell him,
it's the
general gist of it, and he'll probably top, if not do like really well in the event.
Yeah, it's definitely a great skill, but I think also, not to discount, Molly Mull or anything, but a lot of players, if you just hand them, a tier deck, mm-hmm. they'll at least be able to go above average with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a fair point. Like back in the Broly Height days, like you used to see a lot of those around locals and stuff, and people would just win just because it was
because the deck was tier 1,
quote unquote helmet.
Yeah,
that's kind of where the term comes from.
So I think it's an interesting dynamic between the two, but I do think that if you're a better deck builder, then you're kind of just generically, you have an advantage in playing. Mm-hmm. Just because you see things that other people won't.
Yeah. You also, I would say that deck builders define the meta to a degree.
Yeah, they definitely define it to a pretty good degree that most people don't think about.
Yeah. Like if you see some of the events from the past, couple of weeks, we had a pretty standard, like, actual deck lists, not necessarily leaders, but like the deck lists, they're pretty standard mm-hmm. For each color. And so I think because of the content that's being produced, most people just kind of lean towards that in their play style, and then they'll just say, oh well, because say like some content creator built this deck and I also was trying to build it, if I use their list, I'll just do better.
Yes, and it's kind of unfortunate that a lot of people are, taking that route and not exploring things for themselves. Like, it's great that you have, a list already there, but I would say take that as a fallback. Build your idea, and if it ends up not working out, you have that other list to fall back on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you'll learn something from your quote-unquote failed attempt.
Right. And deck building is a muscle, sort of, like exercising your brain.
Absolutely.
So you need to continue to do it to get good at it. Like for me, I would say I'm not the best innovative deck builder. Like I don't come up with like brand new ideas very well, but I can take a shell of a deck or even like a full 50 or 60 card deck, and I can fine tune it like extremely well. That's one of my talents in the game, I'd say, at least just like personally, that I feel like is ratios and the mathematics side of things I'm good at. but not necessarily the innovative side. So usually I follow like a 85% rule, where I'll take a deck from a content creator and take like 85% of it and then change, what does that come out to? Like 7 cards?
Something like that.
If it's a 50 card deck, I'll change like 7 cards and go from there,
Yeah, that's kind of like what I did with our Team Wars event. I took the generic shell of the Vegex Majin Buu deck, and I actually was working on, some edits to it for quite a few hours really early in the morning. Because considering it was Team Wars, I had to be prepared for more things. So I went from the initial 54 card list, made some cuts to certain cards in there, and then realized, doing the math, because there was no extra mill power or draw power, if I went to turn 5, I would have a clean reshuffle, which meant my entire drop goes back. That turns off my Bibbities. It, turns off my Mimicries, my Boo Chain, everything. So I had to add some cards.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up going up to, I think it was 57 cards.
Yeah.
Because that meant going to, I think it was turn 6.
Yeah.
I would have exactly 1 card left in my deck.
Right.
After using my leader.
Right, because your starting hand plus life is 14, and then draw 1 per turn, so that's 6.
And you go through 7 cards a turn between drawing for turn and your leader.
Yeah, because you draw 1 mill 5 and then draw 1 for turn, so 7. And
so I got the math down to, at 56 cards, I was exactly reshuffling.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was that on turn 5 or 6, I was exactly reshuffling, so I added 1 more card.
Uh-huh.
But I added in like a couple Koitsukais and a couple Pui Puis. I cut a Fu and a couple other cards I didn't think were that great for Team Wars specifically.
Yeah, because best of 1.
Yeah, that and, the Team Wars format in general, I need to be more prepared for a wide variety of things.
Exactly. It's quite an interesting format to prepare for, and I think it actually exercises player skill as well as like deck choice a lot, and it really like is intriguing how playing these other formats can boost your primary format's skill level.
Yeah, it helps a lot also with like assessing not just like game states and things like that, but card quality, and not understanding just your deck but other people's decks.
Yeah,
that's another thing about deck building also, is if you build a lot of decks, you're gonna come across something similar to what you've built at some point, and you're going to know how the deck runs, so you'll know how to play against it.
Yeah, totally agree. Anyways, let's finish talking about the Mack TOP. What do you think about the format, like the whole concept of a top 64 players in the country playing off against each other for, I think the total is like $10,000 or $20,000.
$10K for this one.
Yeah, $10K cash to the top like 8 or whatever.
First of all, I want to thank Daylon Mack for continuing to be, the only quote unquote tournament organizer in the game that's putting up cash tournaments. So I think before that there was none. So like competitive Dragon Ball, like, yeah, it's cool and it could be worth it in the sense of reselling prize product, but it's not like other card games where you can like actually earn a living off of.
Right. Like,
and I think that's something that with what Daylon's doing, it's going to help propel the game forward.
Yeah, I agree.
And it also like helps drive people to become better players also, because now there's, actual stuff on the line. Like an extra $500 to $1,000 could make or break, a month or two for somebody.
Right. I would even go as far to say that like it's in the name, Tournament of Power, the strongest warriors from each universe sort of thing.
Absolutely.
It's all, in the design. I really like the idea too, and I think Daylon's doing a pretty good job at it with the whole cash prizing thing. And I think well, in the last TOP, there was still some entry stuff that was pretty cool. A couple of packs, you know?
Yeah.
And so
that event was really great. I'm definitely glad I was able to go to it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
I think one small thing I might change from last year's to this year's is more side events, or like a bigger emphasis on them.
Yeah.
Because it kind of felt like the main event was like that or bust.
Uh-huh.
And like people would keep playing through it even with like a really bad record.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if there was, you know, a little bit more emphasis put on other side events, someone who has like a -2 or -3 record might be more incentivized to drop the main event, play side events.
Yeah, it also helps with the logistical side of things, like you're, you know, just cottontailing on what you're doing. Once you have people dropping, you can run the main event faster, rounds go by quicker,
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, because I know last year we ended up having to cut a round due to time and just the community at the event's decision to cut it around short. And I know a lot of people were unhappy about that, but
it is what it is.
Yeah, it's kind of the price we pay for, you know, people not dropping with a bad record.
Yeah, I think the other reason or the other contention to why we had to not have as many side events or cutting for time and stuff was just the and I don't want to bash Bandai, because like they did a pretty nice job of working with the TOP organizers and stuff for being able to have the community play in both events.
Yeah.
But I do think that in the future, if they could just kind of connect with the tournament organizers, even if maybe they're not the biggest organizers right away, if they can connect with them,
a sanctioned tournament organizer,
and just maybe get them a list of events and dates, you know,
so that it's easier to plan
around.
Yeah.
Say, you know, these are our events, we're running these, here's all the dates. Because I think they have to have them in set for like the next year.
Yeah, and that one that they had that weekend, I don't remember seeing it up until pretty close to February.
Yeah, it was like a couple of weeks, I think. Maybe a couple of months, but I don't exactly remember.
It was sometime December or January, I think.
Because, yeah, you're right, because we were trying to see what regionals we could go to for the year, I think.
Yeah.
Because people, you know, not like us, you know, we don't make that much money. We have to plan a couple of months in advance, save up for things.
Yeah, because I know we knew there was one in February somewhere on the West Coast. That's all that was announced up until sometime in, I think it was like the beginning of January or so.
Yeah, so just a little more sort of working together to...
more communication with TOs, or even just the, you know, the community in general.
But they did do a good job. I mean, both organizers were put in a pickle, and they made it work. I was able to attend both events.
Yeah.
And do some pretty good playing.
Yeah, that was a long weekend of playing.
Yeah, it was.
Played through all day Friday at the regional.
Saturday and
all
Sunday.
Day Saturday. You played a bit more on Sunday because you had Top Cut, which I barely missed out on.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And then Sunday we had Team Wars also.
Yep.
So that was a weekend full of Dragon Ball, but I don't think I would have traded that weekend for anything.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I really like about Daylon's tournaments, and maybe it's just because that one was like a doubleheader, but they're very memorable so far. I mean, he's only had one that I've been to.
Yeah, it definitely felt more like something for the community.
Yeah.
It was a really nice kind of change of pace.
Right. And I also like the fact that the prizing and stuff, or not necessarily the prizing, but like some of the ulterior prizing, it's not the cash, is driven by the community. Like the name badges of the people invited. It's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
And like last year we had the jackets and stuff like that.
There was all the different community awards, the play mats for the bounties for each region. All that stuff was just really cool, really unique.
Right. But yeah, I think overall I'm excited to go play in that event. I don't know where it's at. I haven't looked too much into it.
Pretty sure he's set on doing it in Vegas. I remember some comment thread like a month or so ago he had like brought up the idea of where to do or doing TOP again in general. And I think I asked him where he was planning on doing it, and he seemed pretty set on continuing to make it Vegas for as long as he does it.
Vegas is a great place because if you look at the regional, they were only prepared for like 200 players, and we had like 412. Plus, we had like 200 something at the TOP. So, if we could get back-to-back events with 200 plus players, that's pretty. That's a pretty good spot.
Definitely. But back to Daylon's kind of, I guess, lists. What do you think about his initial list? So the 5-star players.
I would say, let me pull it up. Actually, I would say I agree with most of it. At the end of the day, it's not my tournament, not my decision, and I'm pretty slow to get offended, so I don't really.
Yeah, I think
rage
specifically with his 5-star players, completely valid. I don't think there's anybody I would add or remove from that one at all. All of those players are very well known. They all have the tournament results to back being in the top 15 players in the game.
I don't know, man. I disagree with Marcus Cantarsi and Russell Stelzer. They're a little washed up. Don't tell them I said that, though.
Yeah, they definitely won't listen to this.
They should put Russell's twin in, though.
Oh, yeah. Brussels Stelzer Water?
No, his name's Josh. Did you see
right?
It? His name's Josh.
Yeah, give Russell's twin Marcus's spot.
I would accept that. That'd be a perfect list. But yeah, that one's pretty spot on. I think that 5-star list combines deck building as well as piloting.
Definitely.
I think you can get to about like 4-star with deck building or piloting, but to get to 5, you need to have both.
You need to be highly skilled in both, yeah.
Or know somebody that's good at deck building and just be a really good player.
Yeah, kind of pick their brain on, the deck building side a bit.
Yeah, that's, I take advantage of that sometimes.
The 4.5s. I don't know how you make a 1/2-star, but
you just cut it in half.
It's going to look weird on the cards.
Well, it's a pretty weird list, so it makes sense.
That's true. Most of these people, I think, definitely deserve it. There's a couple that I personally don't know, but
yeah, me neither. A few of them.
That's not to say that they don't have accomplishments that warrant being in. I think this makes 35. Yeah, So the top 35 players.
Do you feel like, just a real question real quick, do you feel like the list rewards players who travel to events over players who have won like 1 or 2 large events?
Yes and no. I mean, obviously, the more events you go to, the more known you are.
Right.
And, just naturally, you should have more tournament experience. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a top-tier player. But I think, most of the players on all 3 of these lists are, quality players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing I think that would be really cool is to redo the list after the TOP and keep like a leaderboard going for.
That'd be kind of cool.
Like this is the top TOP player until the next event or whatever, and have like you have to earn your spot by doing well, and people rotate out or whatever. That'd be really cool.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, but I think most of the 4.5-star players, I've played against a few of them. They're all pretty good.
Yeah, I've played against a decent number of both the 5 and 4.5-star players, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of them very, very talented players.
Yeah. And, I mean, we see a lot of content creators on there.
That is true, which I think is also important. Even if they don't have, all the tournament results, they do a lot for the community, and they have to have some degree of skill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Eggman posted a post. I don't remember, I think it was in the regular Dragon Ball page the other day, saying how on Shenron's Lair he's made it almost a deck a day.
50 pages of decks or something.
It was like 500 something for
That's
the past 2
insane.
years. And it was like, yeah, I mean, if you exercise that, that muscle, you're going to get good at it.
Yeah.
So,
And I know he's in a part of the country that doesn't really get events.
Yeah, the Midwest, I think.
I believe so.
So let's move on to the 4-star players. There's a big list of players.
Yeah. So
and I don't know like half of them.
30 something of them plus some flex slots, which I did think it was cool that he's upping the count from 64 and allowing the community to participate in some online events to kind of earn spots for the extra like 10 or so spots or whatever it was he was adding on.
Mm-hmm. Like, to an extent, results need to show for players to be on the list, but also community driven,
Yeah.
Like if one of the 5-star players is like, this guy's really good, he just is, say, like 16 years old and doesn't have a license or can't fly, or obviously a 16-year-old can fly, but like say like he doesn't have any money, so he can't travel, but he's like an amazing player. Obviously he's not going to be on the list because nobody knows who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think honorable mentions is a great idea for the community to kind of step in and recommend people.
Yeah,
and then
I think the community's done really well with supporting players and even content creators. But I think what you said is really important, and that could be a great way to help players that may be in that sort of situation to get to some events.
Yeah,
I know there's a lot of that goes on in the Magic community. I think it's a great thing to see, honestly.
Yeah, I remember when I was playing Pokemon, we had some junior players who were like, we quote unquote like prodigals.
Some of those kids are insane.
I mean, some of them are really good. They're really good. And, they just, if you just ask for help on travel fees, I'm sure people are willing to help. So,
yeah, a lot of people are like not going to trip over, $2 to $10 of donating to help someone, get to something really important.
Yeah.
Especially if they know that it's something that they have in common.
Right. Yeah.
Which I think our community is getting closer to that, and I personally think it's a great thing to see.
I agree. It just shows how much, everyone appreciates each other.
Yeah. And with that, I think a good amount of Daylon's, initial 4-star list has a lot to do with that. It's a lot of people who have been, very vocal in the community in one way or another. It starts with Frank Miller, our resident postman. He's notorious for rants.
I thought he retired.
But the content he does is really entertaining.
It is. It is. And it's, I would say, I've been saying this since Frank started his rants, but I would say it's healthy because...
Yeah, definitely.
One, it's, all out there on live, and then once he's done, it's done. And
it kind of brings a sense of like reality to our world too.
Right. And venting and just kind of ranting on about whatever is controversial at the time is healthy.
Definitely.
And I like the rants as long as they're not necessarily clean, but like appropriate.
Yeah, they don't go too far out there.
Like don't no personal attacks, but
yeah,
I like them. I think they're funny.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's very good for the game and the community.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that he does that.
Although I did hear he was retired. Not saying, I don't know.
I guess we'll see in February.
Oof.
But yeah, there's a lot of people on the 4-star, like you said, that I don't really know who they are. But that's not to discredit anyone. I know I'm not the most active on the community page or anything. And that does play a role. This is a community-based event. So it doesn't need to be, all 60 whatever players, the cream of the crop skill-wise. there should also be some important community members involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you want to make something big, you get the press involved, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm not denotating or being connotative to the content creators saying that they're, like bad people or anything. But if you want an event to really pop, you want the community drivers to be involved. And so content creators are a good thing. And ours are pretty skilled players usually.
Yeah. A good number of, the players on these 3 lists are content creators also.
Yeah.
So I mean, like you said, that just goes to show the skill of some of our content creators to, kind of put their money where their mouth is, and, back the videos and everything that they make.
Right. So any closing thoughts on the Mack TOP number 2?
I'm personally not on this list, but if they do like side events or things like that, or, even if Daylon does decide, hey, maybe we should get, some other content creators involved, I would personally love to go. I mean, Vegas was a blast last year. I know we helped with some behind the scenes stuff, but we also, had the benefit of being able to play during the event, and it was an absolute blast.
Yeah, I loved it
from start to finish.
Maybe we'll see a Friday night LCQ and
Something
like the top
that,
16 join.
Or, shameless plug, maybe do a live episode.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
Let's get some actual in-person interviews going.
Yeah, let's get that on the podcast. Anyways, this is a Sideboard podcast checking out for today. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.